Look, the rest of the national publishers and OpenAP sat down around a year ago, and in talking with all the advertisers, really we're looking at what are the big challenges in our space, specifically around advanced advertising. And uniformly, I think everybody has been very focused on unlocking cross-platform use cases, whether that be cross-platform planning or cross-platform measurement. And the challenge is, this stuff is really hard. But what we all decided collectively to work on together to start with is cross-platform measurement. So over the last 12 to 18 months, we've been working with all the publishers to standardize the way that you do audience activation, to audience distribution, and then ultimately all the way to measurement. And the idea is that the kind of ever elusive notion of cross-platform measurement, so the ability to actually have deduplicated reach across both linear and digital, is something that's been elusive for a while. But now with the ability to actually start with an audience defined as a set of IDs consistently, and then have that all brought back together at the end of the campaign, can really unlock some exciting things. So XPM is the name of our new cross-platform measurement framework. And it's going to enable advertisers to develop a campaign with one consistent audience and actually get deduplicated reach across any national publisher and across both digital and linear at the same time.
All right, great. So yeah, de-siloing audiences in the TV space gets talked about a lot, but
right.
Break down why this is needed.
Well, I think when you're, I think it got, Adam Gerber once broke it down for me on a napkin, which was great. But it's like when advertisers are going into their upfront and they're basically allocating hundreds of millions of dollars across, multiple publishers. The challenge is that they don't really have a notion of, they know they're buying X number of units towards a demographic, but they don't really understand how many people that they're actually reaching across all these different platforms. So the ability for you to actually understand from a frequency perspective, are you over-frequencing certain groups of your audiences? What does the actual reach look like across the entirety of the campaign, not just a siloed part of the campaign, is incredibly important to be efficient with your dollars. And the more efficient that we can be, the less advertising that we actually need in our streams. And ultimately, for this industry to survive, it has to be competitive with the ad-free experiences on Netflix or Amazon, et cetera. And so in order for advertisers to actually be more effective, they have to have a better notion of where their ads are being displayed and who they're reaching on what different platforms.
Great. Now, can you talk a little bit about how XPM will work?
Sure. So it all starts with defining your audience. And generally, advertisers are the ones, or the media agencies, are actually telling us. We're not necessarily saying, hey, use this data segment or use that data segment. They'll come to us and say, hey, I have an audience at Axiom, or I have an audience at Epsilon, or I have an audience at Merkle that I want to use to activate and have a guarantee across these publishers and across multiple different platforms. We then work with them centrally to take that audience and match it to a common set of open IDs. We have an open ID for everyone in the US. And that ID spine, we basically then use, we have a set of open IDs for this particular audience, and then we use that same ID spine to match and create a linear segment for transaction, a digital segment, and an addressable segment if needed. And what that means is you're taking those open IDs and you're matching it to linear viewership data. So let's say Nielsen is the one that's being used in the campaign. You're actually, the result of it is a set of Nielsen IDs. For digital, it's actually a set of digital identifiers. For addressable, depending on the footprint, let's say Comcast, you actually get a list of Comcast IDs. But everything is resulting from the exact same ID set to start with. And then all the publishers are getting the exact same definition or the exact same viewership IDs. The publishers then take those into their systems and they build plans that'll guarantee off the audience that they got from us. And because they all got the exact same audience, you can actually look at the duplicated reach across all the plans. From a measurement perspective, so then we get out of the way. Publishers build their plans, they run their campaigns, and then post-campaign, we actually get all the post-log data back from linear, digital, and addressable. And we work with measurement companies to pass them that data. For linear, they just get as-run logs. For digital and one-to-one environments, we actually have an impression log with an open ID assigned to every single impression. We have a crosswalk with our IDs to the measurement company's IDs, so our IDs to Nielsen IDs, our IDs to Comscore IDs, our IDs to VideoAmp IDs. So that measurement provider is able to take that data, resolve it to their own ID system, and then look at the linear reach on their own ID system and combine that to get to deduplicated reach cross screen. So what everyone's been kind of looking at is like, okay, I know I reached 30 million people here in my target audience in linear and 20 million in digital, but what was the overlap? What was the actual unique reach there? So one, you're gonna get a report back on, okay, you actually reached 35 million unique people. But beyond that, probably the most exciting piece of XPM is it's not just getting a reach number. We're also going to get back the actual open IDs that were reached cross-platform. And that's the most exciting thing, I think, for television advertising. The ID level exposure data that you get back is going to be incredibly useful. You could then see all of the IDs that were reached, all the IDs that were overexposed. What do those look like? Are they higher income, lower income, children, no children? What do these different cohorts of your exposed audience look like? And then how do you have better ways to optimize your campaign into the future? Who wasn't reached? Why weren't they reached? And what platforms? So the ID level exposure data, even beyond the raw number of deduplicated reach, I think is going to open up a whole host of innovation in the future.
All right, and finally, a couple years from now, looking back, how will you know if you've succeeded with this?
Yeah, so, look, I think right now, advanced advertising is a $1 to $2 billion industry in television. We think what success looks like in 5 years is that's somewhere to the $10 to $15 billion mark. And we think that what's going to be the primary driver. Initially, most of the growth into advanced advertising was, hey, I want to reach a really niche audience, and I want to then use like a very custom segment in television. What we think the big driver, though, going forward is this additional analytics and insight that's going to power your whole marketing funnel. And the only way to get that is if you start by defining your audience in television as a set of IDs. Because if you do that, you actually can get back at the end of the campaign a set of IDs. And so we think that empowered analytics is what's really going to power investment growth in the future. So we think a shifting of somewhere between 10 to 20 billion, we're trying to look at that $15 billion mark as a really good marker for that in around 5 years.